Wow. That was a dream come true, I want you to know. Really, seriously. I was just thinking, I came to this center for the first time 23 years ago this month. Yeah, I've been here a long time. Yeah, I was only 2 when my mom brought me here, and no, just kidding. But yeah, it's a dream for me because I love that we bring the contemporary music here because it's really meaningful. And I know Reverend William and I, that's one of our passions, to be able to see that there is spiritual enlightenment in rock and roll. And so you saw it. You saw it. Yeah. Thank you. So something that's kind of traditional for centers and churches that teach science of mind is the first month of the year, January, is dedicated to reading the first 4 chapters of Science of Mind, which is this hefty book. But we're only doing the first 4 chapters, which really encapsulate the whole philosophy. So it's our way of starting the new year off right, teaching you the basics about science of mind so that you can utilize these tools throughout the year. And this book was written in 1938. So it is my job, Reverend William's job, Dr. Laura's job, and something I just learned today, Dr. Joe's job, because he will be here on January 21st to join us in our tradition. Woo, yeah. Love surprises like that. Yeah, so it's our job to make 1938 material relevant, exciting, and meaningful for you. So game on, right? So, I'm a bit of an intellect. I apologize. I can't help myself. I like being a scholar of sorts. And so I wanted to talk to you today about a quote from 1882 by Friedrich Nietzsche, who was a German philosopher. And he made a very bold, very ballsy proclamation in that year. He said, "God is dead." You can imagine how that went down in Europe at that time. God is dead, right? That's like a game changer. It's earth-shattering. But what he was telling people, it isn't that God is not in existence. It was the way that we're looking at God, the way that we're believing in God. Because the way that we were evolving, we couldn't believe the stories of the religions anymore. They weren't making sense. We were becoming more intellectual. We were starting to see things differently, and religion just wasn't hitting it for us anymore. And so he said this to wake people up, because it's still important for us to be able to find some sort of spiritual understanding so that we could live our lives in such a way where we're not alone, where we're not just out there in chaos, where we could see some sort of divine order, some sort of morality that anchors us into our lives. So what Nietzsche did was huge for us, because really what he did, he started the next step of spiritual evolution. And what's very interesting is that Ernest Holmes was born 5 years after that quote. And Ernest Holmes was all about teaching us a different way of seeing God, seeing what God is, what our relationship is to it. So Nietzsche's proclamation of God is dead was a game changer and opening the door for all of us to find a different way of seeing who we are spiritually. And so the first chapter of the Science of Mind is called The Thing Itself. The Thing Itself. When I first read that, I was like, are you kidding me? The thing itself? The thing? You're calling God a thing? Oh my gosh, my Jewishness was just rumbling and falling apart and saying, oh my God, I see the lightning bolts coming. I cannot study God as the thing. But it was actually a very brilliant thing that Ernest Holmes was doing, because he wanted us to separate all of this stuff that we were contaminating our idea of God with. He wanted us to take out the personage of it all, the punishment of it all. He wanted us to see God more as this neutral, loving energy rather than something that bogs us down, that harms us, and keeps us in such a place where we really don't honor ourselves because we have to see ourselves in a certain way. So Ernest Holmes was brilliant to start things off with the thing itself. And if this is weird to you, I just have to say this because it was weird to me, obviously. I'm telling you my reaction. I just ask you to have an open mind. Just have an open mind and just allow yourself to kind of see what Ernest was trying to tell us. So something that is a big thing, and this is a quote actually from the thing itself, something that's a big thing and that's created a lot of this discord with the old religion is just the expansion of science and what we're learning about science and how that's kind of dropped a lot of people's faith in God because you've got all this information from science, so where does that put us spiritually? And Ernest said this, we all look forward to the day when science and religion shall walk hand in hand through the visible to the invisible. And so really what he's talking about is we have to deal with the invisible plane of existence because what we teach and what we know is there's something going on there in that invisible plane, right? I mean, your thoughts are invisible, energy is invisible, and there's power in the invisible. And so what Ernest was trying to do is bring science and spirituality together to be able to show that they're saying the same thing. When you pray, you're not praying to something visible. It's this invisible energy, right? So if you are tapping into an invisible source of energy and something visible comes out, there's a relationship there to pay attention to, isn't there? And that's what Ernest was saying. Science shows that. The law of gravity, that's a scientific idea. That's invisible. We can't see gravity. But we see it through the way that the world is, right? We can see it in that we stand here and we don't float away. So this was one of Ernest's points, to bring it together. Let's loosen up. Let's loosen up how we saw spirit and religion and bring science into it and see how they're really saying the same thing. And I spoke a couple weeks ago about quantum physics. That's one of the latest trends of scientific information that is showing how very powerful the invisible is and that our consciousness impacts it. So this is what it is and what it is not, what Ernest teaches us. It is not a person. It is not a person. We can let that go. It isn't somebody standing on high and judging us, not judging. Isn't this like revolutionary? It's still revolutionary to me because I think I have a little residue that still hangs out there. But I love to say it out loud because it reminds me of what I know is true. It's within all of us. That it is not outside of you. It is right here, and you do not need an intermediary to connect with it. It's not a respecter of persons, meaning there aren't some people that get to use it and some people that don't. We all use it. We're using it right now. You've used it your whole life. Your whole life. Maybe not consciously, but your whole life you've been using that invisible power through your thoughts. And it is creative energy that acts upon our beliefs. This energy of the thing itself is vibrant, it is alive, it is creative. And your beliefs impress upon that energy and bring this to life. So it makes you really wonder the power that you have in creating your own life. And that's what we teach you here, that you are not a victim. Your life doesn't just happen to you. You play an active role in it. And that's what I love about our philosophy, because we can change things. We're not stuck. You know, when I was a spiritual seeker so many years ago, what woke me up is I was tired of being a victim. So tired of it. I saw all these people having these wonderful, vibrant, happy, joyful, wealthy lives. And who am I sitting over here not having that? And something woke me up and said, why not me? And I was brought to this place. And they said, you can. Why not you? And that's where I learned the power of this philosophy and how to use it. So we all use this to the level of our belief, and that's why faith is so important. And I know there might be people out there who don't have a lot of faith. I get it, been there so many times. That thing that Nietzsche said, I used to say that. I said, God is dead many times in my life. But when I came here, I stopped saying that because I realized what God really is. I realized it because I believe we have a knowing in our heart what the thing itself is. We've been taught what to think the thing of itself is. And now is the time where we get to discover it for ourselves. So one last thing, the thing itself is all good. It is all good, and it is ours. So today we did the religions, and I was thinking about what some of them might say the thing itself is. So the Tao would say the thing is order and balance. Judaism would say the thing is law. Christianity would say the thing is love. And Buddhism might say the thing is consciousness. What Science of Mind says is the thing is all of that and more. Doesn't this sound great? You want it? You want it? You want to live this? You want to have as great a life as those of us that have been practicing these principles day and day and day and just saying, wow, it gets better and better and better. That's how powerful this is. And you can use it, all of us. I want you to feel your power. Just because I'm standing here, Dr. Laura, Reverend William, we stand up here, we talk about it. Our ability to do this is equal to yours. You just have to want it. So Holmes says this, all men seek some relationship to the universal mind, the oversoul or the eternal spirit, which we call God. And life reveals to whoever is receptive to it. I've talked a lot about my spiritual journey, and it was so intense for me. I was just sitting here going, boy, that was really important to me. I really needed to find that because I knew that not having that centeredness in spirit or love or creative intelligence, whatever you want to call it, not having that centered inside of myself was really hard for me. And so it was so important for me to find it and get it back in me, get clicked into it, because I knew that provided me with grounding and vision to live a better life. And so Holmes says that we're all looking for that. Are you all looking for that? If you haven't found it yet, right? There's something inside of us that yearns for it. And I believe that Ernest Holmes tapped that knowing. He tapped that idea that there's something inside of us that's looking for the thing itself. But we got to be receptive to it. And I know there were times in my life where I was totally not receptive to it. But I got so tired of not feeling that love and that anchor, I finally became receptive. And that happens in life. A lot of us come here because we've had a trauma in life or we're in a bad place. And coming to a place inside of ourselves where we've just kind of bottomed out, that makes us really receptive because we can't find anything else. And so we're open now for something to fill us up and bring us back to life. So what's your thing? What's your thing? One thing I love about this philosophy is we get to decide what that is. And when I first was learning about Science of Mind, I felt kind of insecure about that because I thought, I grew up in a really organized religion, and I always thought somebody who's more learned than I, that studied religion more than I, must be the person to tell me what God is. And coming here, I was told the opposite. I was told that right where I am, who I am totally able to find the thing itself inside of me. And the cool thing is, it's on my terms. It's on my terms. Whatever it is to me, that's what it is. Because we're all structured a little bit differently. We all have different ways of spirituality and meaning and love and energy. We're all different in that. And it makes sense that we should all find our own sacred self inside of ourselves. And I will tell you, like I said, I've been doing this thing for 23 years. And I have never, ever, ever felt depleted or that my way of seeing God isn't right. Because, man, I will tell you, seeing spirit the way that I need to see spirit has empowered me. It has enlightened me. It has inspired me. It has brought my life to such a level of joy, of love, of excitement, of possibility. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the outside world. It does not matter because I know what I can do. And I know the love that I feel and that I allow out and that spiritual connection. That is what powers me to be who I am. So I'm telling you, this works. So, and if I can do it, you can. I want to emphasize that. If I can do it, you can do it. I should bring a picture of me when I was really lost, and you'll go, wow. Ooh. Anyways, so Holmes says this, the storehouse of nature may be filled with good, but this good is locked to the ignorant. So this is the jumping off point of what we need to do to open ourselves up to living this philosophy and utilizing it. So the idea is that this universe is filled with goodness and love and joy, but we're kept from it if we're ignorant to it. And so what Ernest is teaching us in these first four is that you gotta learn how to use it. You got to learn how to use it. You got to learn how to manifest through your belief system. You've got to learn about spiritual law, or else you're going to be kept out of possibility and goodness. So here we go into thinking. Man, by thinking, can bring into his experience whatever he desires if he thinks correctly and becomes a living embodiment of his thoughts. So I want to do a little clarifying about thoughts and thinking. So Ernest talks a lot about thinking and thoughts, but I want to take you to a place underneath all of that, which is your belief system, because that's where the thoughts come from, right? So, for example, if I believe that I'm in constant state of wealth and joy. If that's what my belief system is, I'm going to be thinking that a lot. Everywhere I go, I'm going to know I'm abundant and money and everything good is flowing, and that will be my reality. So that is thinking rightly. Thinking rightly is thinking from a place of knowing that you are the allness and the wholeness. You are everything that spirit is. All those qualities of God that we talk about. Wisdom, peace, joy, beauty. We are all that. We are not separated from that. And so our thinking needs to change if we don't believe that. And I know it might take a little time to get there. I get it. Being introduced to these ideas, it's not like you're all of a sudden going to say, oh yeah, I'm all that. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm this. It might take a little time. And that's why we teach you about prayer, affirmations, coming to the center every Sunday. This place starts to change your thinking and your belief system so that you can be embodying this philosophy and living it and utilizing it. You got to keep practicing it, though. And boy, do those changes happen one day. It just all moves. And there you are, embodying this stuff. So the conscious mind is superior to the subjective and may consciously use it. I had to bring the most simplest quote from this chapter I could, because it gets kind of tricky with this conscious, subconscious, and I wanted to make it really easy for you. So he teaches this thing called the conscious mind, which is the mind that we're in right now, right? We're awake, we're here, we're connecting. That's the conscious mind. The subconscious mind, or the subjective, is what's not aware, right? It's underneath the surface. You can think of it kind of as your computer program. It's underneath, right? It's operating, but you're not aware of it. You're just aware of what you are here. This is the cool thing about our teaching, though. This is what I want to emphasize to you. Your conscious mind, as he says, is superior to what's underneath. Maybe your old belief systems that aren't life-affirming to you. You know, the less than, I'm not enough, I'm unlovable. Those ideas that might be underneath the surface, but you're not aware of. Your conscious mind can change it. You can change it by doing prayer, affirmations, any kind of inner work where you're really looking at why you believe that about yourself. This is where our work is. This is the power of this philosophy. This is why anybody can change. I don't care where your past was. You are here consciously awake and aware, and you can use the power of your mind to change your beliefs. But you got to do it. You got to practice it, but you can do it. Yeah, woo! Thank you. Here's another thing we need to do is trust the universe. When we learn to trust the universe, we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. And I still need to remind myself about this. If we truly believe that this universe is filled with everything that we require to live happy, healthy, joyful lives. Do you believe that? Yes. Do you really? Yes. All right. When we really believe that, we don't need to worry about a thing at all. We can travel through all of our life experiences and not have to worry because we trust the universe. When I was first getting into this philosophy, and I think I've probably shared this before, I lost my job that I had. And this philosophy was already, I hadn't taken classes, by the way, but I'd been coming to Sunday services. And this philosophy was already having a way with me. Because when I lost my job, which was a good job, I was like, I'm not worried about this because I already had this idea anchored inside of me. I already knew that this is an abundant universe. I already knew that I was open and receptive to it, and I was not prevented from receiving that big good because I know who I am as this spiritual being. So I lost that job, and a week later, I was offered a new one. That's faith. That's knowing that we are always provided for. And as Ernest Holmes teaches, if that's your belief, that will be your reality. That's how this works. So this is one of my favorite quotes from The Science of Mind, and it's actually in the beginning of this chapter. Ernest says, the divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. And I chose the music this morning to be around freedom. Freedom. Because that's what Science of Mind is about. And I know we've all had our life experiences. And when life experiences make us feel constricted and trapped and imprisoned, we need something to unlock that door. And our philosophy is that key that unlocks the door, because it is our nature to live in freedom. As Ernest says, bondage is not God ordained. What we need to do is utilize these spiritual principles to continue opening the doors when we feel trapped, to open the doors to old belief systems that keep us narrow, that keep us in a state where we're not expressing ourselves, where we're not feeling fulfilled. Open the door with these spiritual principles. They are that powerful, because it's about freeing ourselves to be who we are. There's a lot of people out there that want to tell us who to be, what to do, what you can't do, and it's time that we tear the wall down. And our philosophy does that. Yeah, it does that. And all of you are valuable beings. As Dr. Tom would say, you are all valuable, worthwhile human beings. All of us. I honor all of you. I love how everybody is different. I want to hear everybody's song. I want to hear everybody's ideas, because that's what makes this world a good place. That's what it is. And so we must free ourselves, because it is our birthright. And it's time for us to let go of the old beliefs that are not allowing us the freedom that is ours to live. So my final thought to you is find your thing. Find your thing. Have fun with your thing. I maybe am crossing a line there. Oh, well, everybody's got a thing they like, right? But I want you to find your thing. I want you to see what's meaningful to you and acknowledge it and praise it and raise it. I want you to pay attention to your heart when it's singing and do more of that. I want you to allow yourselves to say, this is my God. This is the way I see it. This is my spirituality. You don't even have to have a God. Let's just take that off the plate, because I know that can trigger some. How about, this is my source? This is my life. This is the love that keeps me going. This is the life that lifts me into a higher way of seeing what's possible in my life and the lives of others. It's time, guys, to find our thing and be it. Thank you. Thank you.